So we're back in lockdown here in the UK, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity to turn a negative into a positive, get my product video back on and shoot a delicious coffee commercial. What is up, creatives? This is Tom. Welcome back to another video. I hope you enjoyed that little coffee commercial. In this one, what we're going to be doing is breaking down that ad production and talking about the camera that I shot it on, the Fuji X-T4. This is my sort of first proper sort of production on the X-T4 since I purchased it. This ad and video is obviously not affiliated with Joe in the Juice in any way. They've just launched their Nespresso capsules for those Nespresso machines, those coffee capsules. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to use them as a nice feature for this video. But like I said, this ad was shot entirely on the X-T4 and I was actually really buzzed with how it came out. I think this camera is going to be a real workhorse for me this year. So first of all, let's talk about some of the shots in the video, some of the editing process and the thoughts behind it, and hopefully it will sort of help some of you guys if maybe you're wanting to shoot some product videos just like this one. So my favorite shot from the entire shoot was actually this opening shot here, the sort of one where the camera is sliding back, revealing the coffee machine, revealing the coffee pods in the foreground, and that was actually shot using my new Edelchrome slider. This is the slider 1, again sort of not affiliated or anything with this video, but I'm super happy with this thing. So like I said, it's the first sort of time I've used it on a production, but basically the entire slider is motorized and controlled via an app, so I can nice and easily sort of mount this to a tripod and then get a really nice controlled or timed slider shot. And I use that for the opening shot, as you can see there, and that type of shot in terms of the speed just wouldn't really be possible if that was sort of a handheld slider move, really, because you're going to be getting too much shake and inconsistency in there. So a motorized slider, an amazing little tool, and actually I picked this up over Black Friday weekend and not that expensive, so I was quite impressed with this sort of quality and the build and everything for that price. This shot here was actually easier than I thought it would be. I shot this in 100 frames a second because I was working in a 25 frames a second timeline. But again, nice and easy. What I just do is I asked my girlfriend to sort of just drop the pod just above where I thought the slot was going to be, and after sort of 5 or 6 tries, we actually had it.
You acted like we've been doing it for like 25 minutes.
It's just so impressive that I get it done.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with how that shot came in. It was always going to be really, really quick, but I think worked with the pace of the edit. The spinning shot was also a fun one. Again, I knew this would be super quick, but we had sort of an inflection up in the music, and I thought this would be a really nice fit to sort of try to get a spinning shot in high frame rates. And again, that one just sort of sat nicely, so I just tried very, very quickly to sort of spin the coffee pods, and then very quickly tried to get my camera and hit record before the spinning stopped. And then finally, the end shot for the end of the video. This was heavily inspired by Daniel Schiffer. I loved the way he used in one of his videos the sort of bed of coffee beans. So I did that, and I decided to sort of throw in the coffee pods, as the coffee pods are the sort of main feature of the video. And I think when you combine that with some sound design, a nice little zoom in effect, that actually was quite an effective shot. Because I knew the logo was probably going to sort of fade up, I think without the logo it would have been a bit bare, but I think because I knew the logo was going to be central, that actually helped quite a bit. In terms of lighting, this is a similar lighting setup that I use on most productions. I have a sort of a main key light here. That was sort of main key light for the video as well, but this, you can see this it's the same key that is lighting me right now. This is the Godox SL60W, a really affordable, high production key light. That's mounted with a softbox, and then for an accent light, this is the light that you have reflecting off the background in the video. I have this light here. This is a light by Yongnuo Digital. I'll have it linked down below. I don't quite know the exact model number specification, but this is an amazing RGB strip light, and when used in pairing with a grey background, it actually works really nicely with the color and lets you sort of reflect a nice color and change the color of the backdrop quite dramatically. So it's that exact same strip that I was using to light the background purple. I think because of the background color and the sort of strength of the lighting, I couldn't get this to be a perfect Joe and the Juice match in terms of the pink. So what I actually decided to do was go for a strong accent purple instead. It was relatively similar, and I don't think if this was an actual client project, I would have obviously had to sort out an actual pink backdrop to make sure we guaranteed the right color in the background. But I think for this type of spec ad, the purple looked and worked quite well. As always, on a production like this, I think the sound design is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. So I'm actually going to play back the ad with no music here so you can get a feel for what that entire sound bed looked like. And then I will run the ad again so you can see the difference. So that was just the sound design, and then let's roll the entire final clip once again. And there we go, you can see the difference. Once you combine the sound design with the music, things start feeling really tight. All right, so in terms of additional editing tricks, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. So I used a couple of digital pushes, and that's just basic keyframes, sort of scale animation, start to finishes. And in my opinion, these types of things make a massive difference on a production like this. This shot here goes from looking like quite a static shot with not much going on to actually the focus being on the coffee and it almost zooming in as the coffee is being poured. And then what I also did is I downloaded a couple of Steam overlays for a couple of the shots, and I just alphaed those out in post, and it just really makes a big difference. Again, we have a shot here that's an okay shot, but nothing sort of crazy going on, and then we can add some steam in post, and you can see the difference that just makes. Even though it's a bit unrealistic that it's sort of coming from the bottom of the frame, it does just make a big difference. And then briefly, when we talked about those digital pushes, it's really useful to be able to shoot in 4K in these higher resolution frame rates. And that brings us on nicely to talk about the X-T4, the Fujifilm X-T4, my new camera. One of the main prerequisites for a camera upgrade for me was that I needed 4K 50 frames a second or 60 frames a second to be able to slow down this sort of high resolution frame rates of 4K. I wanted to guarantee myself 4K 60 because I absolutely loved it on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. And I'm really enjoying the Fujifilm frame rates. Like, you can shoot 4K 50, 4K 60, and it looks absolutely brilliant. I'm really, really happy with how this ad came out. I shot some of the footage in H.264, and then I shot some of the footage in H.265, and the difference that you can push in terms of the color grading is quite substantial. I certainly don't think the H.264 footage looks bad, so it is nice that you can sort of fall back on that if you need some slightly, smaller file sizes or anything like that. Like, it's a good, they are both strong codecs. Like, this video here is shot in H.264 in 8-bit, and in my opinion, it looks great. It's also got decent high frame rate options, so 120, 100 frames a second. It's even got a 240 frames a second I didn't use in this production, but the couple of slow motion shots that I did use in this little short commercial did look really nice, and I was pretty happy with them. And then the overall sort of winner, the only overall best thing for me on this particular ad was F-Log. I previously not enjoyed shooting log all that much, but using F-Log on the X-T4 is just an absolute breeze. One of my biggest problems with log footage is that you get nasty color noise in the shots and the shadows, and I've not really walked into that at all with the X-T4, kind of regardless of how I'm exposing my image. As long as everything is sort of nicely contained within a histogram and nothing is sort of overblown or completely underexposed, I'm actually really happy with the image. It's just a breeze to grade, and we go from a horrible looking log shot to a nicely graded final image. Like I said, I just absolutely love F-Log and working with it so far. One real pitfall of the camera though is the battery life. It was actually a reason that I wanted to upgrade from the X-T3, or didn't want to go for the X-T3, so it's why I went for the X-T4, is I'd heard that the battery life was substantially better. I don't want to know what the battery life was like on the X-T3, if this is the battery life on the X-T4. It's okay, like I would say I'm getting probably like 2 hours of usage, but certainly for a full shoot day I would need maybe like 5 or 6 batteries if I'm going to be shooting relatively continuously. I went through probably a full battery in the production of this video, which is fine. It's not horrendous battery life, certainly way better than the Pocket 4K, which I moved across from, but it is just not quite as good as I would want, and I will probably be looking into sort of rigging solutions and options for the X-T4. But overall, I've absolutely loved shooting on it. I hope you enjoyed that coffee commercials and maybe found the breakdown interesting. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section down below, whether it be about the ad, about the camera. Like I said, I'll be down there, and I'll catch you guys next time.